This season, we're going to talk about some different books that I've read. Books with different topics that I think will encourage you. I know you're going to love it. So come on in. So I've chosen various books on different topics that I thought would encourage you. And today I'm really excited to share with you doing life with your adult children. I have just noticed so many people dropping their kids off at college, people getting married, their kids are young now. This book was amazing. I read it and I wished I would have had it when my kids were that age. And it just will give you some great tools and help you to be the best parent you can be as your children leave you alone. So today I thought it'd be fun. If I'm going to do this book, why not bring in my daughters so they can let you know, did I do good at this or not? And we're just going to talk about it and hopefully you'll be encouraged. So I want to introduce my daughters to you. I have my daughter, Adrian. She is an amazing mom, wife. She's also a pastor, a children's pastor at a church. And most importantly, she loves chickens. Yes, she does. My other daughter, Haley, is a wife and mother too. She's also a nurse, a registered nurse and a professor. And I would say the thing that she loves the most is thrift shopping. So welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. So I know that I had to pay them a lot of money to be here, just so you know that. But I wanted to talk with you guys about this because as I was reading this, there were things in here I thought, I wished I would have known. I think I would have been a better mom there. And I am an amazing mom. I'm a great mom. I know that. But there were things I could have done differently. And it was interesting. They have different principles. And the first principle they talked about is that when you go off to college, and kids go off to college, that it's a lot easier on the kids than the parents. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was the first year with my daughter going to kindergarten that I thought, oh, that must have been really hard on mom when we left. And I don't think I ever thought that when going to college, ever.
No.
No, and I think...
Thank you. Thank you for feeling my pain now.
I think I was just so ready to spread my wings that I didn't even take into consideration what you were going through.
Right.
And I think just when I'd come home, you were sad, but I think I honestly didn't know how much you missed, like how much it
changed my life.
Your life.
It changed my life. I remember you. It was just difficult. And all of a sudden, our family of four that was so precious to me, something was missing. And it just seemed
the fun
strange.
was missing.
I thought it was kind of nice.
Some fun was missing, but I was still there. Yeah, it changed. And I don't know that kids realize that, what it does for the mom and a little bit of a spiral they go in because it's a whole new season and it's changing and it's different. So when you were doing this, I kind of thought of this. You guys were kind of having this new freedom.
Right. And when we're calling you and telling you about fun things we're doing, you're like, oh, okay. I'm like, why is she not happy? Like, why is she not...
Okay, that's wrong. I was happy for you.
I think you were more grieving that...
No, I was sad I wasn't with you having fun.
That's true.
Yeah.
You were sad. And I think I interpreted it more like, why is she not happy that I'm doing this and I'm having all this fun? And you were just... It was a new stage and you were kind of grieving what had been.
It totally was that. And I don't know that I fully recognized it. I remember about 5 or 6 months into you being gone at college, Dad said to me, you do know you have one more daughter at home. And I was like, oh my word. But it was a really good wake-up call for me because I was grieving over what had been, but I still had somebody with me. And I think I would really encourage parents with that. As you take kids to college and you still have kids at home, remember that. And it was a new, wonderful season for me to get to know Haley because you had me for a few years by yourself before she came along. So now it was her turn to kind of have that time with me and get to know me and her better as we move forward. So now this one was kind of threw me. Principle number 2 was unsolicited advice is usually taken as criticism. I read that. I'm like, no, because to me, when I'm giving you advice, I would think you would want it because I have great advice. But it said that you would have sensed that was like criticizing you. Do you think that's true?
I think so. Like, I mean, even when I was younger.
Give me an example.
Well, you would be like, hey, did you brush your teeth today?
No. I'm not going back that far. So no.
You did that even in high school.
Well, okay, maybe I did.
You would say stuff like that, and I'm like, Mom! Like, or points where I couldn't change something.
In that moment?
Yes, I didn't need that advice.
But I think I'm helping you.
You think you're helping, or you're like trying to encourage me in something, but it's coming off like I'm not doing a good enough job already.
Yeah, I get that. I kind of realize that as soon as I say it, sometimes I'm like, That probably didn't come out the way I want. So Haley, tell me, how did you feel? You're different personalities, and I think they need to know that out there. I have a 9 here if you're in the Enneagram, and I have a 2 over there, and I'm a 7. So put that all together and you have a party. But
yeah, I don't know if, I mean, I guess in some ways I could see that, but I don't know if I would necessarily feel like that personally, that it was like criticizing me.
maybe by the time I got to her, I'd worked through it.
I mean, I don't know if she had to criticize us much.
Right.
That's probably true too. She had her act together. Okay, so I'm just going to lay it out here because I want to encourage our audience and help them be better parents as they transition and their kids go off to college or get married. Be honest. What did I do really good? I want to start with that. And what I didn't do very well. Did I do anything really, really good?
I think you were always our encourager. So, you know, she's always cheering us on.
Yeah, and you always were the house that everybody wanted to be at. You were fun, and you made our lives fun.
Party mom.
Yeah. Like, we didn't live a boring, depressing life. Like, you always made everything we did exciting and new and
Gifts
all the time, like, or scavenger hunts or...
Okay, so I do really good at that. So I need you now. I want you to be honest, and you won't hurt my feelings, really. But what are some things I could have done differently that would have helped you as you went out to do your own adulting?
I don't know. Yeah, I think just talking a little bit more about all the, not having so many rules, letting me dance on the dance team, even though I
Go to the
shake my hips.
Go to the NSYNC concert.
Go to the NSYNC concert.
Did I not let you?
No.
Oh.
And she was like 18.
So it felt like I was a rule mom though too. You just said I'm fun, but I had
You
the
were
rules.
fun, but on the other side,
That's your father. We need
you
to
were
have
fun
him
as
here.
long as we stayed within the rules.
Got it. So it was kind of a control thing.
A little bit, yeah.
I'll face up. I think I am a controlling mom at times because I want to be in control because then I think that I can keep you all happy. And
Yes,
letting
and
you
you
out of
want
my
it-
control, you might not be happy.
Right. I think, another one is that we were really different. And one thing, Haley's room was always perfect and beautiful, and mine was a hot mess. And I had stuff everywhere, and I felt like it was always like, Adrian, clean your room. Adrian, do this. Adrian, do this. And it just wasn't my personality, where I would have, if you'd be like, hey, let's read a book together and have a book club, that would have like
Been your thing.
been my thing, where Haley's like, I'll clean my room. I'll be perfect. I'll have everything.
I would pay you to clean your room.
She would pay me to clean my room.
Because it was stressing her and I out. Because Haley and I are a little bit more the same.
You
there.
are, and
Yeah.
I think understanding, if you had understood maybe a little earlier that I am really different than Haley, maybe we could have had less of those headbutting.
Yeah, we did have some headbutts. I mean, really, you were the one that pushed our buttons a lot more than Haley.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know if we wanted a second child for a while there. So, but you felt that.
Yeah.
And so as a mom, let's say there's a mom out there and she has 2 very different kids. One's more compliant. I mean, Haley's more compliant. She even had her shoes lined up.
Right.
You know, she was like, that made me feel good when I walk in there. But then I go in your room, I was like stressed out. So what would you say to a mom that has 2 very, very different kids? Because I know that I could have done a better job there.
Yeah,
What would you
I think
say?
just finding what makes your child tick. Because for me, cleaning my room was overwhelming. And when you would say, I need you to clean your room, I took it like, I'm not. Because I look at hers and I'm like, oh, she's got it all together. I'm not good enough. And so
And you're a 9.
I'm a 9. And I think that if you had just maybe seen that I excel in other areas and maybe appraise those a little bit more, I wouldn't feel the criticism as deep.
Right. No, that's great advice. And I think I've grown in that, and I'm continuing to grow in that area. I've learned a lot in the Enneagram about you. And I think it's so important as parents to learn about your kids and their personalities so that you can better interact with them. Because I want to do life with you as we get older, and I want you to enjoy doing life with me. But as we get older, one thing I've noticed is they have a choice if they want to hang out with me. Before I had to force them to. But I mean, now you guys have a choice. Yeah. You don't have to hang out with me. So how can I, as a mom, I think every mom, we just want our kids to want to hang out with us. So how do I, as I grow older, and I'm really young and I'm crying, but how do I want to build a relationship with both my parents. I think not every mom, but most moms out there, we just want relationship with our adult.
Yeah.
So what you would say is just be open to who you are and accept you for you are.
Right. And I wasn't going to fit into the same mold as her, which we are so different. I think for parents too, like, if you have an easy child, I think the hardest part for me is she was an easy child.
She is the child.
She didn't push the buttons.
Perfect child.
Pretty close. I mean, she
didn't push buttons.
She didn't ever hardly get in trouble because she was just very easy. Where when I felt like I was the bad child, like I was always pushing the buttons, even though it wasn't big buttons.
No, exactly.
But I always felt...
So it was like the bad kid, good kid.
Right.
I think there's a movie out with that too.
But like, I always felt like I was the hard one.
So what you would say to a mom out there? You'd say, find out what that child likes.
And what they
really
excel
excel
and,
at.
You know, when I was good at band and you guys praised that, it made me feel...
We came to everything.
You came to every marching band competition.
Because we really noticed that, and we tried as you were leaving and as a teenager, what could we do? And I came to a point where the Lord spoke to me one day about the room, and I was walking past your room, and it was a mess. And I felt like the Lord said to me in that moment, close that door. Don't make that an issue with your relationship with your daughter. And I remember I closed the door, and those last 2 years, there were sometimes I had to go in and clean it just to make myself feel a little bit better, or hire her. But I learned there were some things I was making an issue in our lives that was hurting our relationship, and I needed to let them go. They were not that important. A clean room is not as important as my child serving God and loving God, and I needed to keep that relationship going so that you would be open.
Yeah.
So Haley, the one that's quieter. So Haley, what would you say?
I think knowing your kids and spending time. I have a son that's a mess. He takes after his aunt, so I just have to close that door. But I think like what you said, like spending time with him and not making it, Mom wants your room clean, your room has to be clean. And
I love that you got...
You did get...
As a
both
son.
of your kids are kind of like me.
The Lord came back, yes, and took care of it.
Yeah, so I think just knowing your kids and...
What do you do actively to know your son better?
I think just listening to what he's into. And so if we talk about Minecraft for 30 minutes or sit down and play some Star Wars game that he's invented.
That does not make sense.
That is, the rules constantly change because he wants to win. And just being present with him and learning how he ticks and how he wants to experience life.
It's really about dying to ourselves as parents.
Yeah.
In a healthy way. Dying to ourselves, our own wants. Someone in here said having children is dying to your own dreams at times, because we want you to be who God's created you to be, but you do have dreams for your kids. And when you have them, you kind of don't mean to, but you'll start going down that path. So for me, I wanted to help you have a cleaner room because I had a dream that you would be, have a clean room and a clean house. But letting go of that, because that means nothing in our relationship. That means nothing.
Yeah.
So there were some different things in here it talked about too. And one thing I just cracked up about, because this is so me, and I thought you guys would love this. I saw a Facebook ad. It said, I'm cool, I'm interesting and fun, which is why my kids like to hang out with me. Plus, I pay for stuff.
Yeah.
I have struggled letting go. Like, that. We go out to eat, I want to pay for everything. And I know there's probably moms out there that struggle with that as you go to college and stuff. When do you start pulling back, even in the finances, and allow you to be who God's made you to be?
Yeah.
How do I do that?
I don't know.
I need help because I'm still struggling.
I think in college it helps. I think paying for things is helpful and it helps the relationship. Even like paying for a vacation, if you want your kids to go on a vacation, it makes it so much easier for them to want to.
How do I think back off,
knowing, that your kids want to bless you too. And so when I want to buy your coffee, letting me buy your coffee.
I struggle, don't I?
Yes.
I'll go, no.
Or when I give you money to pay for our kids for a Happy Meal, and you're like, oh, no, I got it. Sometimes we want to help you, too.
Yeah, I'm learning, moms, I'm working through this. The other day, as I wanted to pick up dinner, your dad looked at me and goes, you do know they probably both make more money than us. They can pay for their own dinner. I don't know why. I think
I think it's still your way of taking care of us.
Thank you.
You don't, as a mom, you don't ever want them not to feel needed. And for you, it's kind of your way of like, oh, they still need me. I'll take care of this.
So how does that make you feel when I continue?
I love it. You can keep doing it as much as possible.
But I know that there's that.
But you just need to be willing to accept it when we want to
bless me.
Bless you. Yeah.
I want to talk about something, because this when you girls got married, we brought in more people in our family, the in-laws. And that was a difficult time navigating that as you girls got married. What do we do at the holidays?
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's people, I have some friends right now, their kids are getting married and holidays are coming. Do you have advice for people about the holidays and in-laws, and how do you navigate that?
Yeah. I think just not making your kids feel bad that they are spending time with the other family. And just, that is their family too. So, and we had to celebrate on other days sometimes, and I was working at the hospital, so we did dinners, not on Christmas, but I think realizing Christmas doesn't have to be on that day, that it can be throughout that time.
I read in the book, it says, make the holidays a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I see so many people put pressure on their kids. So these kids are feeling like, I had this one gal, she's got her parents are both divorced. So she said over the holidays, like a 3-day span, she has to hit 4 different places with her 2 little kids. And that does not feel like what we should be celebrating Christ, about. I remember early on when you girls, your husbands have family, and they're amazing families. I would rather they be with me, but I know they need to go and be with these other. I know I want my son-in-laws to be with their families too. But I remember I told you, if both of you had to be gone on Christmas and not with Dad and I, let us know way ahead of time, and I was just going to go on a cruise. Because I didn't want you to feel bad, and if I was home, you would feel bad. I know that, so I'd need to be on a cruise. But what would you say to a young girl that just got married, and she sees Christmas coming, and she wants to be with her family, but her husband wants to go be with his family?
I mean, it was hard. I would say the first few years was hard navigating that because we came from a very close family where we did every holiday together. And, there was things that drove me insane sometimes with my husband's family. And we, his dad was he would sometimes say things that would hurt my feelings, but we lost him suddenly a couple years ago. And I'm like, that wasn't a big deal. And I think about how sometimes we make things such a big deal, and now we would give anything to have him for a holiday.
Right. Yeah. I remember that and the little struggle you had with Ray. And
but, and realizing they raised who you married. They raised an amazing person.
Yeah.
And even though they did things with my kids when they were little, I'm like, oh, that's not what I wanted them to do, or that's not what they eat. That's, they raised a perfect person that I married, that I love, but I think it's just so hard to have someone else try to come in and be that mom.
And they're not who you are.
And the dad, you're like, this is not how we do it. But, I think I was so hard fast some of those years that I missed out on making more memories.
Yeah. Well, don't have regrets, because you can move forward. You did great this summer taking family pictures with your mother-in-law, and you are so good to bring her in.
But I think just knowing, life is quick.
It is.
And sometimes little things can become big things in family issues. And I see, I have friends that are like, oh yeah, my brother and I don't talk anymore. Or, I don't have any relationship with my mother-in-law because she did this. I'm thinking, you are losing everything.
Right. And I think about your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's where I want my kids to know their grandma and grandpa. And even though, they maybe do something different, think differently, but that's still their grandma and grandpa.
Yeah. And I saw one picture you posted of little Haven with Grandpa Dan, her other grandpa, and they were reading together. And that was just a sweet,
Yeah.
I want and for me, I do want those other grandparents to speak into my grandkids' lives.
Yeah.
Not as much as me, but I do, I'm just being honest, I do want them to be a part of their life. I still like to have you for the holidays, but I need to know that the more people that we can integrate to my grandkids' life is also a positive thing too, especially as these wonderful Christian people that you both are blessed with. Your dad and I 4 years ago sat down and we said, what positive things did our grandparents speak into us? And what, some things that we did, like with some of our grandparents, we didn't even have a relationship that much with. And we want to be someone that's leaving a legacy. We want to speak life into our grandkids. And that's when Dad and I really started thinking about what can we do, not just taking care of them for you, but how can we speak life into our grandkids? And what are some things that you feel that we've done well as speaking life and legacy into the grandkids?
Well, I think you're 100 times better grandma than you were. No, I'm just kidding.
Nana is amazing now. It's okay. I was a good mom. I'm okay.
You love our kids so deeply, and they all have different uniques and different things they're good at. And I mean, almost every sports event you're either at mine or theirs, and you're going both in one day. I mean, I can't tell you how many times you drive out an hour just to see them for 15 minutes to drive another hour home, but you're present in their life with.
Thank you.
Growing up, we didn't have that. We saw them twice a year. You know, we loved them, and we
Your
knew
grandparents, yeah.
Yeah, we knew they loved us, but they weren't present in our life. I feel like besides me and Ryan, you two are like, and Papa and Shane are like their whole world.
Yeah.
Like, you're present in every part of their life, and like, you know, everything I get home from school is like, who do you love the most? Nana. Papa. I'm like, what?
Nana,
I'm doing all the
love
work. But, you know, just being present in their life, and you love them. You love so deeply.
Yeah. I love my grandkids. I think I'm a better Nana, and I apologize I didn't have my mom act together, but I'm doing really good as a Nana. So, but I just want to say, girls, thank you. I want to thank you I know I wasn't perfect, and for all those moms out there right now, and you're going, I'm so not perfect, but I'm thankful for the grace of God, because God came in at those times where I maybe wasn't the best, or your dad wasn't present, or something, but God's grace. And I want to thank you for loving God and serving God and raising my kids up, loving Jesus. And I just want to encourage anyone out there that maybe you don't have what I have and it's pretty special. Just remember, God loves your kids, and you just keep praying for them, and you just keep praying for those grandkids, and God will make a way. And just know that God is going to use you and your prayers. Even if you can't have a relationship, your prayers are amazing. And I just want to end with this. It's interesting. This says on here, the book, it says, keep your mouth shut and the welcome mat out. And I think as your kids get older and older, that is part of it. Learning to just keep your mouth shut, but always welcome them into your home. And it says this, 3 John 1:4, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth. And Psalms 133:1, how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity, especially if it's family. I think not only is it a blessing to us, but it's a blessing to those around us. So I'd like to end with this, and Cade will tell you too, my 6-year-old grandson, don't let anybody steal your joy. And I just want to encourage you with 3 things as we continue to walk out this pandemic. Number 1, always grow and learn. Number 2, work on your relationships. Relationships are important, and right now I know it's different, but still work on them. Get with friends. We need community. We really do. And number 3, most importantly, lean into Jesus. He sees you and he loves you. This season, we're going to talk about some different books that I've read. Books with different topics that I think will encourage you. I know you're going to love it. So come on in.